Hey guys, and welcome back to the Musings&Review channel. This is your host Maverick, bringing to you episode 5 of Vinland Saga. So, last episode, I made a few controversial statements, right? Although the Askeladd one turned out to be not as controversial as I initially thought. But my opinion in regard to Thorfinn, that definitely ruffled a few feathers. But at the same time, though, I do want to note that that is an opinion. What I'm doing here is not only a review series, but a react series as well. So I'm just calling it as I feel at that moment, right? Now, I do try to make the distinction between what I present as historical fact, at least to the best of my knowledge and background, anyways, and what I essentially view as my personal opinion. Opinions are opinions. You're always welcome to disagree with opinions. But at the very least, I always try to at least explain my thought process in formulating such an opinion. Why, what actions, what events led me to believe in a certain way. So that is that. Now, with that aside, let's get back into the episode at hand, because last episode where we left off, Thorfinn was still telling Askeladd and his men, right? And, well, they obviously need to still portray some more story in regards to Child Thorfinn. Now, looking at the opening of this anime, I think it's fairly obvious that we're probably going to be experiencing a time skip sometime in the future, right? Because we see him also grow all the way to, I guess, maybe a teenager, maybe 15 or so. Seems about right for that kind of age and setting to become a independent warrior. And I highly doubt we're going to be looking at his entire growth process through these 9 or 10 years. But still, as I said, they need to at least show us what happens to Child Thorfinn, right? Like maybe he eventually meets up with some other group that is enemies with Askeladd and his men, and so the enemy of the enemy is my friend, and you know, yada yada yada, that kind of development, or maybe something else. And also on that note, we are also in the midst of formulating innovation of England, courtesy of Sweyn Forkbeard, right? And also, we have yet to meet Jarl Sigvaldi as well, the leader of the young Vikings. So perhaps we'll go through all that with Child Thorfinn perspective. That's a fun. Anyways, let's get into the episode and see what happens. Alrighty, I skipped the intro and the opening, so let's just start right here. And 3, 2, 1, play. Nope. Booze. I think Vikings mostly drank mead, right? The Troll's Son. I wonder how long they've been, let's see. Is that salt water or is that rainwater? England. Oh, they're already at England. Hey, can go get some stuff to eat and drink now. Oh, ouch. Let's see, he's gonna be rescued by Askeladd and his men? Or, no. They're just gonna leave him there. Oh. Alright, a river, stream of some sort. let's see. Is he gonna try to steal some food from the camp? Or is he gonna try to find some food on his own? Huh. I guess this was unexpected on his side. So they inadvertently raided a village? I mean, I don't think this is their original intention, right? They're just here to rest. Wow, their security is seriously lax. He's having qualms about killing someone? Hmm. Did you at least eat, Orphan? Really? Okay. Except, of course. Yeah, he probably can't even hold this sword very well. It's too heavy for him. Is this gonna be one of those where, you know, Orphan keeps following them and then gets better and better and whatnot? there's anyone that's a clower, it would be Floki. He's gonna join us. Is he? Well, I don't know. Hard to say. Hope you don't eat a poisonous one, kid. Nope. Back at home. Did you take his head over too? That is one strong. Okay. So she has her own way of coping with things? Dang. What now? Dang. Hey, it's the loot. Trying to busy herself to death.
強かった。でも甘かった。それだけのことだろう。
父上をバカにする
な。お前はただ弱いだけだな。
Like I said, I'm wondering if this is going to turn into one of those series where he's going to actually join Askeladd and his men, and then eventually, you know, under the pretense of I'm going to kill you in the future. There have been a few stories with this kind of setting before. So he's gonna get his training by fighting. Good hit. Good for you, dude. Wait, so how long are they staying here? What? Ah, he's like, I can throw it! Alright. Well. So he's gonna try to use his newfound skill to duel again? Yeah, I assume this is not something that happened overnight, right? Yeah, I wonder if he maybe has done, like, did the same thing for quite a few times already. Or at least approached his men. Okay. He's gonna throw it in some during at some time, right?
なんだよ、もう終わりか。つまんねえな。待てよ。決闘だろ。もういいんじゃねえか。マジで死んじまうぜ。なんだよ。やれっつったのはお前じゃねえか。
Yep, here we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. They're judging from the opening, it might take another 10 years, but eventually. Alright, that was actually quite nice. I feel like, let me talk after the ending. So, I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, so that was episode 5 of Vinland Saga, and, well, giving credit where credit is due, I did like Thorfinn's persistence, if nothing else, for this episode. That was definitely admirable. And in fact, I feel like maybe this episode in particular maybe shafted him a little in terms of the portrayal of the time that went past, and his time, you know, training himself, honing his skills eventually to challenge Askeladd to a duel again. Because it definitely doesn't seem to me that only a few days have passed. Like, maybe, potentially, he's been working at it for, like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, something like that. Definitely not just, you know, 2 or 3 nights, right? And another thing to further exemplify this is the reactions of Askeladd's men, right? So the first time that Thorfinn challenged Askeladd to a duel, the other men were basically jeering him, mocking him, right? Whereas the second time, they at least viewed him with a little bit more respect. So I do wonder if the dynamic there is that they actually saw him working on stuff as he was in a sort of like proxy to them throughout these few, you know, throughout the time of their stay there at this village, right? So I do wonder if maybe time passed a little bit more than what was portrayed in the episode. And also I feel like the eye bags were a nice touch as well, because we do see, you know, Thorfinn basically training late into the night, trying to, you know, even clumsily, but still persistently hone his skill using the sword, right? And trying to hone his knife throwing skills. So that was a nice touch there as well. I do kind of wonder if that was anybody else other than Askeladd, maybe that strike would have worked, because we do know that Askeladd is probably the strongest warrior right there, right? I mean, he almost fought on equal footing with Force as well, so he's definitely not someone to be lightly taken of. So even though he nonchalantly smacked, you know, Thorfinn's attack away, I do wonder, maybe that was a little bit more threatening than was shown here. And also, speaking of Askeladd, I do like how, in the end, his method of, you know, taking care of Thorfinn, right? And, you know, telling him that this is a promise between warriors, right? Playing directly into Thorfinn's idealization of the warrior spirit and honor and all that stuff, and so basically essentially getting him off his back for a while. I feel like that is definitely something that only someone like Askeladd would think of doing. And speaking of which, I still hold on to my guess that perhaps Thorfinn is actually going to be learning some stuff from Askeladd. Maybe Askeladd is going to be, however ironic it is, the sort of substitute father figure to Thorfinn now. Which we can see a little bit of, especially in this episode, where, you know, Thorfinn actually took Askeladd's advice to heart in not swinging a sword around blindly. And putting yourself off balance, right? So that's potentially something that's going to happen as well. And not to mention, right, even though the ending of this episode made it seem like they were parting ways till we meet again or whatnot, Thorfinn doesn't exactly have a way off England, right? So, I don't know. I feel like he still might be on the ship and taking the ship back to whatever place he wants to go, or even to the battlefield, right? He now wants to prove himself on the battlefield. Well, then he's probably going to stick around until Askeladd and his men eventually get to the battlefield, which they will probably go to as well. They're a mercenary group. There's no reason why they wouldn't eventually be hired as mercenaries of war, right? So, I don't know, I kind of feel like they're probably going to still be sticking around together for quite some time. What else was mentioned this episode? I guess not really that much. It was interesting to see, who's it called? Yorva? Thorfinn's sister, basically. Her way of coping with the sadness, right? Basically working herself so that there's no spare time to think about these emotions, and then once she stopped, all the emotions come flowing out. I did like that. That was a nice touch. They did also show her in more of a, I think they're really pushing the portrayal of her being unequal to men in terms of her prowess, in terms of her strength and durability and whatnot. So I do wonder if perhaps we're going to be eventually seeing her in a sort of warrior role as well. And I guess it's not entirely impossible. We've already seen the portrayal of berserkers, right? So it's entirely possible that we're also going to be seeing the portrayal of shield maidens or female Norse warriors as well. So that is also potentially something up in the works. Although nothing is guaranteed yet, right? Because we didn't really see that character from the opening or whatnot. So maybe, maybe not. We'll see. And I feel like that's about it for this episode. Nothing really much in terms of history-wise to share here. If they do eventually go to like Thorfinn eventually still sticks together with Askeladd, and they do get hired as mercenaries of war, then we'll probably see them also actually duke it out with the English or Anglo-Saxons, I should say, in the near future, because this is supposed to be around the time during the one of the first invasions of England during the turn of the millennium, once year 1000 and so on and so forth. I believe there were 3 invasions in total that were sort of, kind of orchestrated by King Sweyn Forkbeard. Right. So, that's it for this episode. Let me know if I missed anything in particular, but if not, well, that's it. I'll see you guys next week as well. So until then, stay tuned. Bye-bye.